Hello and welcome to the first ever Druid's Dice video battle report. Today we will be having Malekus the Burning Truth face off against Lylyth the Reckoning of Everblight. Today we will be playing the Take and Hold scenario from the 2016 Steamroller packet. The friendly flag can be dominated by a Warcaster or Warlock for 1 point. The enemy flag can be controlled for 1 point or dominated for 2 points. The Killbox Artifice is in effect. Legion won the roll-off and forced me to go first, taking the side with the trench. I deployed fairly centrally. Malekus is going to go sit on that hill for the entire game with a wall of jacks in front of him, and hopefully that way he's not going to randomly die to Lylyth's feet turn. I deployed the Choir right next to the jacks as they typically do, and because my opponent was playing in Ravens, I lost the 80 on my racks. The Cleansers go on my right side, hopefully to burn some things over there, and the Zealots go on the left, the plan being to hide the UA behind the forests until I can feat.
Hey guys, this is Dan Tom. I'm the Legion player, also Druid Dice's roommate, so I'm going to start off with putting the Seraph out, and then Lylyth 3. Neraph goes next to the Seraph. Those guys are going to be buddied through most of the game, usually. The Naga and Bolt Thrower are going to hide, and the Protector stays close to Lylyth like it's supposed to. Raptors go on that side of the board because I'm hoping to use them as the answer to the unit that he has on that far side. And the Deathstalkers will also go over there, really just to take out some of the infantry, and hopefully Lylyth and the Beast can deal with the other unit, and then focus on the caster at the end.
I started off the turn by allocating one focus to Eye of Truth. Make sure he could keep Oracular Vision up. I pre-measured 9 inches from my Choir and ran my jacks up to that point so that I could get passage onto them. And they all ran up just to create this nice mobile wall for Malekus. The Choir move up and sing passage, but I'd totally forgotten about Wraithbane from my opponent, so that wouldn't have made a huge difference. Malekus casts Banishing Ward on the unit of Cleansers and Ignite on the unit of Zealots because he doesn't really have anything else to do, and he just advances. The Zealots run up, and then I realize that my opponent's threat ranges are pretty absurd, and I scoot them all back, just staying outside of threat range of pretty much everything. I'm not a big fan of my models dying turn 1. Of note, a Wrack did die over there on the side, but since the Cleansers are immune to fire damage, it didn't matter. They all run up, and I know I'm going to lose a couple, but I think I can probably stave off the losses if I put Rovin's buddies in the middle of them. And you can see me pre-measuring that there. They all move up to shield guard stuff. The Heirophant moves up, and that's the turn.
Alright, so I'm already kind of caught at a disadvantage. I'll remember the apparition for the Seraph, and as always cheat and move the Neraph, as most people do when they bump their models. Checking for ranges on this. Druid's Dice is pretty good about keeping random stuff out of shot range on turn 1, especially against my range Legion list that I tend to throw out. The original idea was to run the Raptors up and take care of that unit on that far side, but when he puts the Shield Guard, the Roven & Co. in there, it kinda screws that plan over pretty hard. And he also, like I said at the beginning, only gave me 1 or 2 shots, and I don't need 10 guys there. So move the one to the side, kind of as a screen. Hopefully it really was not an ideal spot for them in the end. I do get 2 shots with the second unit of Raptors, so that's what we keep checking. And I roll those dice, give it a chance, make sure these still in with Anyssa to get the bonus. And hope for something. Don't get much of anything. Move them around. Kind of put the last 2 in the way. Maybe to keep some of them back far enough. Kind of underestimated how long the 15-inch mini feet would be. Deathstalker moves up, kind of puts some points out just to try it. Second one kind of does that nice hide behind the clock trick. It works out in the later of the game to me. Run Anyssa over because at this point the Raptors are going to die, and I really don't want her just to get sprayed with stealth. I try to take advantage of it and go after the other unit. Run Lylyth up. Kinda hard to stay out of her threat range just because she's so big and her range with the Bolt Thrower's Farsight Animus is not small. Take out a couple guys. At the end of it, I end up getting Wind Wall for free, which is nice. It's always a good thing to get when your opponent's not going to have a lot of magical attacks, especially at range, which this list I think had one in the end. Reposition. Made sure Eye of Truth wasn't going to get a free charge at her with the range. Protector goes up. I think I spaced on the apparition. You should always keep a little token by that bugger just to remember. Slipstream the Neraph like I said I was going to. Run a Spell Martyr up. The only reason that's in the list is I had an extra point, and Lylyth does have an offensive spray that she can cast through it. Bolt Thrower goes up. Naga goes up. Made sure everything was within 10, and that's the turn.
Right, limited casualties. Excellent. The shield guard trick with Rovan and Co paid off. I load up Eye because I see an opportunity to charge him in, kill a raptor, and then flame burst onto a bunch of raptors, and then pop Malekus' feet after that, which should kill them all on his next upkeep as it prevents them from going out and it boosts the damage roll. So, first things up, Choir goes battle. I check where I needs to be. He goes in, charges that one model, boosts the hit, lands the hit, and it's pretty much auto dead at dice plus 4 or 5. The other 3 models are lit on fire. Eye is no longer engaged, so I can channel through them later if I want to. The Reckoners move up. They're just going to be a mobile wall for Malekus. I'm checking right now where I need to move him to get out of the kill box. That one will take a shot, and it will miss its shot pretty horribly. The other one will move up, redeem its buddy, but on a different raptor. Hitting and killing. I'm checking Malekus' control area there from where I'd like him to be, so that I can make sure to get all the fire damage out as physically possible. He pulls off the Wrack. It does not explode. He pops his feet and arcs a Scourge through Eye of Truth, trying to knock down those raptors on the hill. Because if I can do that, then those cleansers will kill them all, no problem. I need a deviation to the 1 or to the 6, and I get a deviation to, I believe, the 2, which moves over and clips that Deathstalker, which is not the worst, but at the same time, I would have much rather had a bunch of knockdown raptors to deal with. The cleansers are going to activate next. They're going to pop their mini feet so that their sprays have an extremely long range. And my strategy here is to just basically throw dice at things. If I roll enough dice, I mean, they need 9s to hit the raptors, 11s to hit the ones on the hill, and if I roll enough dice, I ought to be able to hit some of them. This ends up working out for me on one of the raptors, the one not on the hill. He gets hit, and at dice off 3 with 3 dice, he's on fire. Not dead, it looks like. The other ones on the hill all manage to survive unscathed. And then over there on the side, I have the knockdown Deathstalker, and it just dies because not snakes to hit, and then boosted dice plus 1. The Zealots are all moving up. They're singing Fervor. I very carefully position that unit attachment back there so that if he decides to wipe out the unit, I can feed them all back. Boosted POW 8 blast damage is pretty good though, because it is a fire damage roll, and the Fervor adds to the halved damage total, so it goes from POW 12 down to POW 6, and then up to POW 8. And then Malekus' feet gives him an additional dice. So between the Zealots, I don't actually really need to fire check anything the next turn. They're going to kill most of those raptors off for me. I've also been being very careful to move the Zealots that die every turn from the edge of the table off the table to make sure I don't accidentally feet any back that died the turn earlier. Here is a bit awkward. I end up killing one of the Zealots that hasn't gone yet. Always go with your front line, guys, because drifting back onto themselves is something that they will in fact do. At this point, I'm basically just trying to drift blast damage onto the Seraph, and I'll move the Rovan and Co up to Shield Guard and pass the turn.
Alright. So, my turn 2 starts with fire checks because that's a thing. Moving around Focus, or Fury, sorry. Lost a lot of models that last turn. Remember to apparate. It's always fun. So, it's not a lot that I have that I can really do to cause an intense amount of damage. Eye of Truth did a lot of friendly work to that unit of Raptors, which I should have expected and just shouldn't have moved them there at all. Run Spell Martyr up just because. Anyssa, throw out some shots. Repo away. My idea here is to use the Bolt Thrower to push and make a line for Malekus and then pop the feet and hopefully shoot enough into him. Unfortunately, because that Jack wall's there and I underestimated the Raptors without being able to use Fury and Fianna too, I'm not very confident that they could really take out I or the other two Jacks. So the Neraph goes up and is going to do a nice little trick with the beat back and push him just out of the way. Once that tail hits, everything else does, and basically a couple free inches of movement. A long process for that. Still have the line. And this lets the Bolt Thrower just walk over. Yay, and a push Jack. Now we have a line for Lylyth. Raptors move over and do this just to try to take out Rogan and Co. Hopefully so he can't shield guard as much at all. Hopefully. Doesn't quite go my way on that one. Do get to take one of them off the board, I believe, but I think I leave one with 1 or 2 boxes left, unfortunately. They go back. Deathstalker gives it a shot. And I put him on the other side just so he might be able to not spray both of them at the same time. Seraph goes next, tries to lower some defense. I think I do get the flare off, but since it's fire damage, doesn't really do much. Naga goes up to clog Eye of Truth. Protector just moves out of the way because I will be repositioning that way once Lylyth's done. So go ahead and pop feet, sit, aim, start shooting, start wasting Fury. Put some damage on him, but obviously not enough to end the game at this point. So she'll reposition at the end of this, and that should be the end of the turn.
I did not see that Bolt Thrower. So Malekus is alive, and for that I am extremely grateful. He instantly shakes stationary because, yeah, stationary Warcasters are bad news. He allocates 2 more to Eye of Truth. The goal for the turn is to kill the Neraph and the Night Lurker, and to just advance my wall of Jacks up the board. Without Lylyth's feet, Malekus sitting on that hill is actually defense 18 against his Raptors, because Ashen Veil stacks with the elevation bonus, and defense 16 against everything else. So he's not actually very easy to hit. The only thing I have to be worried about a little bit is the Bolt Thrower drawing a bead and knocking him down. So I have a Reckoner go into the Neraph in the back arc. He misses one of his attacks, but it hits the other and does decent damage. It is dice +3. The other Reckoner moves in, boost to hit, and then boost damage as well, and it goes down to about 6 boxes. So Eye of Truth instantly kills him off, and then buys a couple of attacks into the Night Lurker, which is going to leave me on a couple of focus, which is perfect. Eye of Truth really likes to have 1 extra focus on him so that he can have Oracular Vision. When the Neraph went into him last turn because of Oracular Vision, he only took about 3 or 4 damage, so he's pretty healthy. The Cleansers are going to move up, and again, we're just going to throw a wall of dice at the opponent's models and see what we can do with them. I do a lot of spraying my own guys in the back to get multiple Raptors. And in the end, I think I hit all of them, kill one of them, and light two of them on fire, which is okay. I think if the fires don't go out, then I'm in pretty good shape for next turn, because both of them will be dead. But I just like to eliminate all those threats, because those things with poison arrows, they're not good for living warcasters, and unfortunately Malekus, despite what he might look like, is in fact alive. With all my jacks and my other unit activated, I am probably moving on to the Zealots, yeah. And I think this is about as good of a turn as I'm going to get to mini feet, and so I pull back those two. The leader runs into the forest so that everybody stays in command, and then I just do a bunch of charges. I'm not expecting to actually do anything here, but I want to gum up the works as much as physically possible. So I charge 2 in on Anyssa. They both miss horribly. She is def 15, they are mat 5, needing 10s. It's a bit hard. And then, turns out Lylyth is actually def 17 because of Guard Dog. So that means that they actually need boxcars to hit, and that just wasn't happening. Malekus pulls around from the Wrack, goes on the hill, and thinks about healing himself and decides not to before I pass the turn.
Alright, so that was a lot of damage to take on that last turn. Losing the Neraph and the Night Lurker was not fun. So check some fire damage and lose a Raptor. Another one puts it out. Move the clock. Hey, there's a hidden Deathstalker. Move him up. He pops off one of the unit and then takes his other shot. And I believe takes out something. But the impressive part here was the Raptor hitting an impressive 11 on 2 dice and then doing some damage and taking off a focus from Malekus, which was super important. Repositioning out of the way to maybe, if I'm lucky, stay alive. Then go back and make sure all the Fury checks and everything are in order. I was way out of the order, and in a normal event would have probably got called for cheating if my opponent was upset with the board position at the start of that turn, but that's highly unlikely. So go over with Anyssa and use Gunfighter to take out the guys that were making her annoyed. Spell Martyr kind of just sits there for now, and it's really just a bad position. I'm going to try to do as much damage as I can into Malekus, but it's not going to be very likely. I use Lylyth to take off one of the guys that was clogging her and then pour some free shots into him. Pretty confident that that unit that's engaging her isn't going to kill her, so didn't focus on that. The next step is going to be to use the Thunderbolt from the Bolt Thrower to move Eye of Truth out of the way and then fly the Seraph up, and if I'm super lucky, kill Malekus with the Seraph. So now we're going to have to sit here and watch all of that in the fast forward. Unfortunately, in the moment, thinking about stuff, these turns end up taking a lot longer than they should when you're sitting back and watching them. I do get the Thunderbolt off, and I actually get the crit knockdown, which is really nice. So no free strike coming from Eye, no matter what. And I will take 2 free strikes from the other 2 jacks, which one does spike, unfortunately, and then I realize I'm out of control, so the Seraph has no chance at doing what I wanted it to do, and I pass the turn at the end of that.
Okay, we've weathered the initial assault. There are very few threats left on the table, and he has a half-dead Seraph, a fully loaded Protector, and a Bolt Thrower all within walking range of my jacks. I screw up really bad here though, and I don't battle Eye of Truth, which means that the Protector is going to survive, which is a bit awkward because I really wanted him dead. I leave a focus on Eye of Truth for Oracular Vision just because I think that's better than leaving... I think it's better to have Oracular Vision than to kill the Protector. I have the choir members move up in battle, and I also have a couple of them poke the Seraph. One of them hits but does no damage. The Reckoner there goes into the Bolt Thrower, and at dice plus 3, I believe, it only takes 2 attacks to kill it. The other Reckoner backs up, and his job is to kill the Seraph, and he does so pretty easily. I'm sitting here going, to myself, how am I going to survive this turn, though? Because that Raptor connecting with Malekus last turn did a lot of damage. I'm on about 9 boxes now, I think. It did 4 or 5 after the Focus Soak. So I'm using the cleansers over here to hopefully kill off the annoying Raptor. Unfortunately, I missed all 3 shots I get on it, but I do hit the Deathstalker and kill it, which is okay. So the other ones spray over at the Protector, hoping to finish it off, but they either miss or don't crack armor. And at this point, I think that I have to run over and jam Anyssa up, or else she's going to have a line on Malekus, and that's just going to be bad. I don't want multiple poison shots going into him, because he is still fairly vulnerable. Roven, the only one left, moves up. He chucks a firebomb at the Protector, but does no damage, or no, does a few damage actually, and I can't be hurt. I'm pre-measuring here how far I can run with my guys, so they run up and jam Anyssa, like I said, and then I remember that the Heirophant can heal Warcasters, and I do a little happy dance. So it will move over and heal Malekus up as soon as I'm done. He's just camping focus. Heals a couple, and I pass the turn.
Alright. Some stuff's dead. Let's start with the focus. I lost the Seraph and the Bolt Thrower, which is annoying. I start with the Protector just to get it out of the way. It freaked out, so it's going into eye. Unfortunately, I did not want that to happen. I really wanted Lylyth to be able to go up a little closer. But, hey, I still have a Raptor left. Let's put some shots into him just because it's funny. Missed that shot, though. Can't get a duplicate of what happened the turn before. There's a lovely shot on my back. At this point, Anyssa and the Spell Martyr are doing some janky jank, trying to get her out of the way. But I'll start with Lylyth instead. Just kill a few guys. At this point, it's basically a losing battle. I'm getting a couple of random points on scenario, but with Eye there, it's gonna be over really soon. And this is all that's left. Reposition and pass.
I think the game is well and truly over here. I can walk a Reckoner into the Protector, kill it, walk Eye over to Lylyth, kill her. I check and make sure the Choir are in range to battle him. And with no transfer targets, I feel like Eye of Truth at dice +4 should take her down. So, he moves over. Protector goes down to that Reckoner. Eye of Truth moves over after this. And, man, he whiffs his damage rolls really hard. Dice +4, and I think I did 5 or 6 or 7 damage with one of the attacks, leaving her alive. You could see it right there. It was like 1-1 or 1-2. The Heirophant goes and heals Malekus some more so that I don't die randomly, and I charge in and actually kill Anyssa with a random Zealot. You can see me here. I'm going to mark him so that he gets a special paint job later. I figure Malekus is probably just as safe on there as he is on the hill, and so I go up to get a point, and I run all of my cleansers over to sort of screen him off, and then I pass the turn.
Well, there was one lucky dice break for the game. So, nothing really left except for Lylyth the Spell Martyr. Move it up, take some shots. It does not go how I want it to. I basically need complete spikes all the way across the board. Doesn't happen. At this point, I have 2 models left. Eyes right there. I concede the game.
Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. This was our first ever video battle report, and there's still quite a few kinks to work out. Neither myself nor my opponent are really used to narrating over the top of our games, and it is actually quite a bit harder than I thought it would be. Hopefully for the next one I will have some time, especially as the school year is ending. I am a teacher, so I will have a lot more free time over the summer. And I will have some better looking graphics for between turns, and probably a better soundtrack, as I will definitely be looking around for something sweet to play in the background. But thanks very much again for watching. Please subscribe if you feel like it's worth subscribing, and you can read lots of other battle reports over at my blog, druidsdice.blogspot.com. Thanks again. See you next time.